Yes, people, welcome back to Thai Sports, where Chelsea are taking on Leeds today in another must-win game because this Champions League race is warming up. But one thing that I love is that Liverpool spent all that money on Isaac, all that money on Ekatike, all that money on Wirtz, all that money on Frimpong. There's probably others that are missing out as well. But Chelsea and United find themselves ahead of Liverpool, and not just ahead, they're building a little bit of a gap now. Liverpool, the pressure's building, but Chelsea, such an interesting team, such an interesting fan base, because I always find that you find them in certain situations quite split on things. But at the moment, Liam Rosenior has come in, and I feel like he's slowly winning over a majority of the fans. And look, it's early days. I know things can change massively and very quickly in football, 100%. But you got to look at Rosenior. At the moment, coming into Chelsea Football Club, a big win away at Wolves on the weekend, winning 3-1. In the league, coming back from 2-0 down to beat West Ham, going to Crystal Palace, winning 3-1 away from home. I'm not going to lie. That is what Chelsea have needed. If you want to be getting into the Champions League, competing in the big trophies in the future, you need to be getting Champions League football at Chelsea Football Club. And I think, obviously, sacking Enzo Maresca, leaving Chelsea in the position they did, they were still able to basically get Champions League football because it's top 5 spots. And Chelsea have the squad there. They have the players that they are capable of doing that. And you know what? Liam Rosenior, yeah, he cracks me up. I'm not going to lie, people. I love it. Obviously, me being mixed race myself, I love seeing a mixed race English manager in the Premier League, 100%. Great for the culture. But the guy just makes me laugh. He just seems real. He just seems genuine. He doesn't... You see some of his interviews and Cole Palmer standing there watching. You see Yao Pedro doing an interview and Rosenior's there, like, behind him. Like, I think he gets it. And I think a massive thing that's important in today's football, which people probably don't think is important, is man management. I think the way players are today, obviously, with social media, the way a lot of things are hands-on, things are in the public domain. 25 years ago, it was teletext, me checking scores on teletext. Then it was final score on BBC for the final 15 minutes. That's all we had. We didn't have nothing out there that you can watch games and stream them or whatever it was. Now, football's everywhere. It's contagious. And I feel like the management and the players just had that sort of professional relationship where you go to work, you go home, sort of, you've got to be a bit of a hard nut. You've got to take things on the chin and whatnot. Nowadays, I feel like there's agents in people's ears pushing for moves. People are sensitive. People can now kick out and turn on the manager, and then you get clicks in football clubs of the players and stuff like that. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying this is how it is. And I feel like if you want to be a manager in today's age, a big club in the Premier League, for example, I feel like you've got to have that balance of being a manager and commanding that respect. And when you make a decision, you make a decision, but also understanding the players, trying to keep everyone happy, trying to show that everyone is valuable. Whether you're starting, come off the bench, or not in the squad at the moment, you're still part of that team. Look what Enzo Maresca did to Sterling and Dizazi. Morally, as a person and a human being, I don't think that was right. That wouldn't have made me feel really comfortable if I was a Chelsea player at the time. And I'm thinking, that's one of my mates or someone I like there, that you're just suffocating. Mental health's a big thing. Yeah, you might be earning good money, but it's not just about that. So, like, for me, I want to make sure that everyone feels valued. Everyone knows that they can come and talk to me. Everyone knows that, this is a club where I want to create a good culture. And I feel like Liam Rosenior is doing that. And at Chelsea, it's probably not the easiest thing to do. You've got some big characters in there. Players like Yao Pedro, who is a character. You've got Enzo Fernandez. You've got Cole Palmer. You've got Reece James. Of course, you've got Cucurella as well. When you look at Chelsea, I'm not saying they're the biggest names or anything like that. I'm on about just characters that have influence. They have personality, which is not a bad thing. You need characters like that. But you want to make sure you get them on side and you keep a lid on things. And I think what Liam Rosenior is doing right now, it is working. Yes, they've had a blip on their record. They went to Arsenal in the Carabao Cup and everyone says they should have gone for it more. He tried taking the game deeper, got it wrong. He'll learn from that. Cool, they're out of that. But they're still in the Champions League and they're still competing for top 4 in the Premier League. And you look at Chelsea and I think they've done what they've wanted to do. They've won games in different ways. The Wolves game on the weekend, a massive return for Cole Palmer. Suffered by injuries this season, come out and said that he's never been in this position before where he's used to having injuries. He's having to play for it. He's feeling like he can't do what he wants to do on the pitch. And big up CFC Don as well, good content creator. Go and check him out. He's been saying this about Cole Palmer for ages. How can people slander Cole Palmer and say that he's cooked or he's this and that when you can clearly visibly see that he's been playing with an injury? And if you're playing at the highest level with an injury or a niggle, you're not going to be able to perform every week. But he got 2 penalties and his goal in the first half, which was the first half hat trick. And that was great for his confidence. Big up Cole Palmer. Hopefully that can now continue because I want him on that plane for the World Cup. Also, he's from St. Kitts and Nevis, so big up his dad and his granddad because that's my heritage too. But that was good for Cole Palmer. He needed that. And Chelsea fans will want him to kick on because I think in that final third, they've been lacking a bit of that cutting edge. The Lap's not doing it. Garnacho's not doing it. Gittins is not doing it. Esteval's been away for family reasons. Pedro Neto's up and down with consistency. I feel like Pedro and Palmer are the double P. They're the partnership. Double P are the partnership. You need Pedro and Palmer on that pitch together. And we saw that on the weekend. 2 assists for Pedro, 3 goals for Palmer, and that was a big win. Of course, you go back the week before that, 2-0 down to West Ham at home, and you're thinking the game's done. But to fight back like that and win 3-2, that shows character. That shows they're playing for the manager. You want to win games in different ways and show that you've got that personality and that edge. And they've done that. You've gone to Crystal Palace, commanded a victory there. 0-0 in the first half, I think it was. And then obviously Esteval gets the goal and you kick on, you win 3-1. So you've won 3-1 at Palace in the league. You've won 3-2 at home to West Ham coming back from 2-0 down. And you've gone to Wolves and won 3-1. And now you have Leeds at home, which is going to be another tough game. You know, Leeds at home, Burnley at home. But on paper, you're looking at them and thinking as a Chelsea fan, that should be 2 wins before you go to Arsenal away. And if you can bank 2 wins before you go to Arsenal away, that gives you a strong position of like, okay, if we go to Arsenal and lose, who are going to go for the Premier League title, potentially the Champions League and the FA Cup trouble, at the moment, looking at their squad, if you go to Arsenal and lose, yes, you're going to be disappointed because Arsenal and Chelsea don't like each other. But you're going to be in that position where, okay, we've got as many points as we could from these games and we've lost 1 to Arsenal. Okay, we dust ourselves and move on. If you go to Arsenal and do what Manchester United, my club, done, which has shown you can get a result there. You've seen it yourself. You can dig them deep into the 90th minute and then they hit you on a counter-attack and win in the Carabao Cup. But you was in that game. You can go to Arsenal and get a result. They're not great from open play. They're a solid outfit, but they're not amazing. Don't let anyone deceive you. They're not amazing. You can beat them. And Chelsea fans, I'm sure that with a bit more confidence, if you win this game against Burnley and win the game against Leeds tomorrow, you're going to go into that game with a bit of confidence and more belief and wanting to correct what happened last week at the Emirates. But I think at the moment, the man management from Liam Rosenior, valuing the players, rotating, use of the squad, finding out what he wants from these players, and also getting Cole Palmer back, contributing in the final third. People might say it's 2 penalties, cool. He's still got to score them, and then getting his open play goal. That is big. And I think in this vital period now where Chelsea are coming into, of course, they've got the FA Cup, they can rest and rotate. They now need to make sure that they're securing these points. And I think the Leeds game and the Burnley game coming up are 2 perfect opportunities for Chelsea to get 6 points from 6, kick on away from Liverpool, who've got a tough game against Sunderland, and put pressure on Manchester United, of course, as well. Because Chelsea would definitely want to get in the Champions League spots. And I don't really think they have any excuses not to, if I'm totally honest. I think they've got good squad depth. I think they've got a great midfield, especially with Caicedo and Enzo in there. You know, what's there not to like? Yes, they could be more clinical and better in the final third. I think they will go out and get a striker or a winger again in the summer. I just feel like they need a proper number 9 or they need a proper winger as well. So it's going to be interesting. I can imagine Vinicius being someone that maybe on the left-hand side Chelsea could go for. Could you imagine Vinicius and Esteval on the wings? Tasty. But that's just me putting my little 2 pence in. But guys, Chelsea are doing well. It's going under the radar. Liam Rosenior is settled. They're bottling it. They're bottling, ranking up points in the league, which is good for them. And they're now going to 2 games where I think they should be confident about getting 2 results at home at Stamford Bridge. But let's see what happens, people. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe. But Palmer, Rosenior, maybe they're on the way together. Chelsea are winning games. Like this video, people. Let me know in your comments your thoughts as well. Big up.